For our lesson today, we are going to be using a piece of beeswax. If you don't have yours yet, you can just listen to the lesson so that you could write about the snail in your pink notebook. Or if you have some Play-Doh in your house, you can also try following along using Play-Doh for now. But I really recommend that once you get your beeswax, please try to watch this video again and make your own beeswax snail. This is how to use the beeswax. The beeswax is covered in a plastic film to protect it from dust. The first time you use it, it is still in its initial form, which is flat, and it's spiraled in, and it might not be that easy to take it out. It won't just fall out. But first you can try if it will fall out, and if not, you're going to grab the middle and you're going to pull it out. If this doesn't work, you can ask the help of an adult, and you can use a tool that is not sharp like a stick. Next, you're going to unroll the beeswax and you're going to be peeling off the film. Find the part that has two overlapping sides and just pull it out from the wrapper. I've already done this before, and that's why there are some pieces of it there, because I had to flatten it again, but yours should come out clean. When you use the beeswax, you're going to form it into different shapes, and then you're going to put it back into a ball shape. And you need to make the ball shape a bit more cylindrical or longer so that it can fit the hole of your jar. And then you will use the plastic to wrap it before you place it back in, so that you could easily pull it out again next time. So make it a bit small so it slides out easier. Then the next time that you use it, you can just pull it using the plastic, and always put the lid back on for it not to dry. I am going to be talking to you about our animal of the day, which is the snail, and I want you to pay attention to what my hands are doing and hold your beeswax to do the same thing as I am going. And as you create the snail with your hands while watching, I want you also to be listening carefully to the lesson, because after this you are going to be writing down what you remember about the snail in your pink notebook. So once again, do not write directly on your main lesson book. Write on your pink notebook first, because I am still going to correct your writing before you transfer it to your main lesson book. So to use your beeswax, you must warm it up first. Warm your hands and hold it. And the warmer your beeswax is, the easier it will be to form it. Now the first thing that we are going to form is a head. Going to make a human head, because the snail is quite like a head animal. And what do I mean by that? There are two main parts of the snail. There is a hard part in the back, which resembles the skull of a human. Okay, so this will do. So a human has a face in the front. Here you can see you can do two indentions for the eyes, and then pull up the nose here, and then you can push here under the nose, and maybe use a fingernail to put a mouth. This is good enough, this simple face. And you can look at the back, and our skull is usually rounded above our neck. And this skull is very hard, and it houses our brain inside. And a snail has this too. A snail has a shell on its back, and the front, where our face would be, is something very slimy, which is the snail's body. Now some of you might think that the snail is not very nice creatures to touch because of the slime that they have. But the slime of a snail has a very important role to play in a snail's life. So here we are trying to pull the part that was the face. We're trying to pull it to make a snail body. I'm just trying to massage it the way I'm showing you right now. So when a snail walks on the ground, it usually leaves behind a wet trail. This is very akin to your tongue. So the snail's body is like your tongue. Your tongue can not only taste, but it can also feel. You might then say that when a snail passes by, it feels and tastes the world as it goes. You may remember our lesson from before about babies. When babies first come into the world and you show them something new, instead of just touching it and looking at it like you would, a baby would put it in their mouth. Because every human goes through a phase when they are small where they are like snails, feeling and tasting the world. So you might then liken a whole body of a snail to a human head, where the shell is the protective skull that houses the snail's insides. Now we are pulling it up because a snail shell, is a very special piece of nature. It is made of sort of a mineral-like material. It's very hard, but the shape of it's very exact. It tapers out like this, and it is arranged in a spiral. So here, just try to pull it and make a long arm here. You just pull it up and let it taper down, meaning it gets narrower as it goes up. And then you're going to twist it to make a spiral. So this is very mathematically exact, but we are not going to do it so exact. We are going to make a simple snail. But the kids in grade 6 and 7 actually study this shape, and they learn how to draw it as exact as a real snail. So that's something to look forward to for you guys. Now you're going to be pulling the body here, and we are going to pinch the sides because the snail's lower side really touches the ground flat, and it leaves behind sort of a slimy substance as it passes by. And you know how your tongue, when it sits in your mouth, it would be very painful if it was dry. You have saliva that lubricates the movement of your tongue inside your mouth. And it's the same for the snail. Because the underside of a snail is so sensitive, it needs the slime to protect its body. So you keep pinching here. And what about the other senses of a snail? So we can keep twisting the shell here. Well, a snail does not only have its body, which is like a tongue. It has something that resembles our eyes. And these body parts protrude from the rest of the snail's body. Instead of just being inside the head, they can actually stretch out. And I'm sure some of you, not all of you, have seen this. So you can pull out 2 long snail eyes here in the front. And not only that, in front of the mouth of a snail, they also have tiny feelers. So this will take a very exact pinching from you guys. You can make 2 feelers here at the front. And this is how a snail eats. It looks up, and its eyes are very sensitive, just like the rest of its body. It will be very kind of you when you see a snail to not touch its body, because your hands have salt in them usually, and this will be very painful for a snail. Now the snail we made is a type of snail that goes on land. But there are other creatures just like the snail. We have a water snail, and we have whelks as well. I'm sure you've seen seashell, sea snail shells. They are a lot longer than this, or I mean narrower, and it has little bumps on it, and it's usually used for pendants. And those creatures, the whelks, unlike our garden snail, which eats mostly things they find in the garden, those eat other creatures. And to do that, inside their mouths, they have sort of like a ribbon of teeth that go around to digest their prey. So here I want you first to take a picture of your snail before you make it back into a ball to place into the plastic and into the jar. So you can display it until somebody is able to take a picture, and you can use it again the next day.